In this video, I'm going to show you this amazing build of this voice AI agents that's capable of handling extremely complex restaurant reservation. The voice AI agent is built via Vapi to handle all the voice call reservation. Everything in the backend is obviously handled by n8n. The database management is all done via Airtable to make the interaction with the customer extremely seamless. This automation consists of 3 separate workflows. One to check the availability of the tables when the customer's interaction with the voice agent. The second one to handle the reservation, and the third one is to update table availability based on the reservation that just occurred. Again, this is going to be a very complex reservation AI agent because it's capable of handling multiple tables. It's capable of checking to make sure that the table that the party is requesting is available. So for example, if it's a party of 5 or a party of 6, it goes back and checks on the Airtable database to make sure that there's enough tables available for the requested party. And again, so that's why I said this is a very complex restaurant reservation AI agent that was built by Alexandra. So this is a partnership announcement that I have made with Alexandra, who's amazing. She's agreed to join the AI workshop community. She'll be providing 2 calls, 1 tech support on Tuesdays and then 1 live builds on Thursdays, where she'll build amazing projects from scratch, from start to finish. You can jump in and ask her questions. And again, all of her live builds and other calls will be available in the live call section of the classroom in the community. So that way, if you miss anything, you can always watch it there. The workflow for this AI agent will also be available on the classroom section of the community under the community automation and workflows, where you can just grab this workflow, import it on your n8n instance by going over to the right hand corner here and clicking on import from file, and you can import all of this and be able to build on top of it. So let's go ahead and watch Alexandra give a demo of how this thing works, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to kind of quickly go over these workflows, and then I'm going to let her actually walk you through step by step on how to build this thing.
Buongiorno, this is Sophia from Little Italy. How can I assist you today?
Hello, I would like to reserve a table, please.
I'd be happy to help you with that. Can I get your name first, please?
Alexandra.
Nice to meet you, Alexandra. For how many people and what day and time would you like to make the reservation?
6 people for tomorrow at 7 p.m., please.
Just a sec. It looks like we don't have availability for 6 people at 7 p.m. tomorrow, but we can accommodate you at 8:30 p.m. or 9 p.m. How do those times work for you, Alexandra?
Yes, 8:30 p.m. is perfect.
Great choice, Alexandra. May I have your email to finalize the booking?
alex@gmail.com.
Thanks, Alexandra. I'll note alex@gmail.com for the reservation. Do you have any special requests or dietary restrictions we should be aware of?
Yes, we would like to have the table near the window, please.
Got it, Alexandra. I'll make sure to reserve a table near the window for you. Let me finalize your reservation. Just a moment. Hold on a sec. Perfetto. Your reservation is confirmed for 6 people at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow, Alexandra. We've got you a table near the window. Is there anything else I can help you with?
That's perfect. Thank you. Bye.
Alright, so hopefully you watched that demo and you saw how powerful this thing is. I'm going to again quickly walk through the different nodes here, or just different workflow, and then I'm going to let Alexandra explain step by step on how to build this, including the part from Vapi, so that way you have a full understanding of how to build this thing. Alright, so the first thing is this first workflow is going to be checking the availability of the table. We're going to obviously utilize our webhook node here, and if you're not familiar with voice AI agents, please make sure you watch my previous videos where I actually use 11 labs, but the concept is the same because you're sending all of that information from Vapi or from 11 labs directly to n8n via the webhook. And as you can see right here, all of the messages or the request here is coming in on the body here. So for this particular example, the customer is asking for a reservation to check the availability for tomorrow at 7 p.m. for 6 guests. So that's the data that's coming in. The next node, the F node, just checks to make sure that the data is coming in via tools call. And if that's true, then it's going to go ahead and parse that. So this is going to transform the dates like tomorrow or the day after or whatever it may be to a real date. So that way it can get processed to the next steps. And again, this prompt is a very simple prompt that's just going to convert everything to a data format that's able to handled by the next nodes. So again, these workflows have a lot of code node, but as Alexandra will explain, it's all done via Claude. So she just basically prompted Claude, and then it was able to spit out all of these different codes. So don't get scared by the code here. You don't have to know how to code. You just need to know how to prompt these large language models. So the code node basically transforms this time to a 24-hour format. It gets cleaned up to make sure that the data is being grabbed properly. The next code node, so this gets the suitable table. Let me actually zoom in a little bit. So this converts it. This is a formula that basically checks that, hey, if the request coming in is for 2 people, make sure you return T1 and T2. And again, these are the filter data parameters that are set on the Airtable. And again, she will walk through step by step, so don't worry if you get confused. And then same thing, the next node is going to check if the requested time is available based on the available slots that's sitting on the Airtable database. And if it is, then it's going to respond with the time is available. And if it's not, it's just going to provide alternative times. So very, very simple as far as the logic, but of course a bit complex to build. Using this code nodes makes things a lot easier and a lot faster as well. So the next one is going to handle the reservation. Same thing, the webhook is going to provide all of the data that's coming in. So for example, the name, the date, the time, the email, and the notes, if there's any special notes, like for example, hey, if a user is requesting a table by the window, all of that is going to come through here. It's going to get cleaned up. Same thing, it's going to use a code node to make sure that there's suitable tables available for that request, for that requested information that's coming in by the customer. After that, it gets parsed, same thing as above, gets formatted, and then the data is being upserted, or a new Airtable record is going to get created. And then obviously the response is going to go back via the webhook to the Vapi voice AI assistant, so that way it can interact with the customer in a natural way. And then the last table is, this is to update the table availability. So whenever there's a table that, or a record that's being added on our database, Airtable in this case, so this is the Airtable trigger. This is going to same thing, clean up the data here. And then the next code node, this is going to create 3 additional records for each 30-minute slot to cover the 2-hour reservation. Again, this is to make sure that there's enough time available, and those times that are being reserved are blocked on the database. And then what that's going to do is afterwards, a loop node is going to upsert that record in the Airtable, and it's going to keep looping to make sure that everything gets updated. I know I kind of went very fast, but that's because I just wanted to give you a quick overview, because Alexandra is going to go ahead and step by step walk you through how to do this, including starting from Vapi, and then afterwards coming back to each of these different workflows and going through node by node and showing you exactly how everything works and how you can create it. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to come to the community and ask her during the tech support calls, or even if you want to just ask it in the community, she'll be able to respond to that. I'm super excited about this partnership with her. She's amazing. She is always working with real world clients, so she's a great asset to the community. With that being said, hope you enjoy this. Please make sure you subscribe and like the video, because I've got a lot of great things that's coming in the pipeline.
Okay, so now let's see how this works in Vapi. In Vapi, I have created an assistant named Restaurant Receptionist. And for the model, I'm choosing GPT-4o Mini that is fast but intelligent and not so expensive. And the temperature, I put it to 0.7 to keep it creative, to have a nice conversation style, but not going crazy. Then here we have a first message, and we have all the prompts here that you can download from the template. So I give a role to my assistant. I describe the task in details. I give it some specifics. For example, if customer asks about the menu, provide specific example of our authentic Italian dishes, etc. And then I tell it how to handle the responses, and which is the conversation style: be warm, welcoming, charming, but keep it casual. And I provide some examples. So we also have a knowledge base. So if a customer asks about the menu or practical things, we have this knowledge base here, which has everything that you want to give us information, and so the assistant can answer to all these questions. So to have this knowledge base, we have to go here to files and to upload this file. Then we can link it in the assistant. Okay. Then, as transcriber, we have DeepGram. As voice, I have chosen 11 Labs Jessica. I really like this voice. It is very natural and friendly. And here we have the functions that are functions and tools that are very, very important. So here we have two tools: check table availability and reserve table. And if we go back to the prompt, we can see that here we say to the system to use check table availability to verify availability of the requested time, and then if the table is available, proceed to collect email and special request, then use reserve table. So we create the tools here. So for example, the check availability here in integration, we put the server URL, and this is the URL of the webhook of my workflow in n8n. We are going to see that next. Then we have the title, the description. The description is very important because it also tells Vapi which tools and when you have to use these tools. And then we have properties. So here we need the date, the time, and the number of guests to be able to run this function properly and to check if there is a table available for this number of guests on this date and time, of course. And so same thing for the reserve table. So here we have the URL for the workflow. You really need to make different workflow for different functions, not to do it with a conditional, because I have tried that while I was building and it was not working. So the system was confused. So you have to use a different workflow for each tool. So for the reserve table here, we have the date, the name, the time, the emails, the notes. For example, I want a table near the window, and the number of guests, as when we are going to update this tool is going to update the reservation table in Airtable, and is going to fill all these fields. Okay, so we also have a phone number. So this phone number we imported from Twilio, and I assign it to my assistant. Now we are in n8n, and I have created 3 workflows. So check table availability and reserve table are triggered by the tools from Vapi, and this one, update tables availability, is triggered when we create a reservation in Airtable to update the table availability table in the database. Now let's explore in details how the check table availability workflow works. So first, we have a webhook as trigger, and this is very important that you choose here using respond to webhook node, because we want at the end of the workflow to have the respond to webhook to send back our result of availability to Vapi. Okay, the method is post. We need the URL to be in production, so we need to have the workflow active, because Vapi is going to send the data and we want a response back. If we are in test mode, it's going to receive the message from Vapi, but we will need to run it manually, so it will not work, and the assistant will not be able to receive the availability and to answer the customer even if we are in demo. Okay, so here I have some data from another run. Okay, and here we can see all the data received from Vapi. So here we can see in tool calls that it's the message is type tool calls because we have a tool calls of end of call report that runs at the end of the call. And here we have a tool call and the name of the function is check table availability. Okay. Then he has received also the argument that the date is tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. for 2 guests. Okay, this is what we need for the next steps. So let's go back to the canvas. So here I run a conditional, and this will run if the message type, as we have seen here, is equal to tool calls. So, okay, here, message type tool calls. Okay. So from there, we go here. So here I have commented everything. So you will be able to have that, to download this template and to have all these comments. So here I have an OpenAI node that is going to transform the natural language dates, for example, tomorrow, into real dates and format them to be inserted in, to be searched in Airtable. So this is how it works. Here, okay, I execute the previous nodes, okay, to get all this data. And here I have a prompt. So everything that I put in curly braces is JavaScript and it can be function from n8n. So for example, here today is the date of today. And I have a prompt with examples that will calculate the date, for example, tomorrow, next Monday, this Friday, etc. And we give it as input the date, okay, that we get from the argument here. So we can drag, when we are in expression mode, we can drag and drop the elements from here, okay? So let's run this, okay? And as you can see, it gives me the date of tomorrow. Well, of my tomorrow, because I come from the past. So we are the 3rd of December today, 2024. Okay, next step. Then, some node codes, but don't be afraid. Even if I'm a developer, all these node codes that we are going to see here, there is some complex things to do that really needs code. I have generated them with Claude, or you can do it with ChatGPT, etc. It knows very well JavaScript, so it's totally doable even if you are not a coder. And anyway, in this template, you will be able to have this done for you. We need this node to transform the time to the 24-hour format because we ask the time in the format, I want 7:30 p.m., but in Airtable, we want the 24-hour format. So here, it's a JavaScript function, totally generated. Even myself, I really don't like to write this type of things. And we pass the requested time that come from the webhook node. And if we run it, okay, we have this 19:30 instead of 7:30 p.m. So let's go back to the canvas. Here we set the guest. So we just drag and drop from the webhook the number of guests here. So if we run it, we can see that it's 2 guests, so everything is right. And here another code node. So we need to get the suitable tables for a given number of guests. And then we are also creating a filter that we are going to apply to the Airtable. So again, a code node, again, generated. So if a guest, it's -2, it's table 1 or 2, etc. And so from there. So he gets the guest from the last input, okay, the guest here. And if we test the step, we can see that the suitable tables are the T1 and T2. We can see that in JSON too, okay. So back to the canvas. Now we have an Airtable node that is going to search the records in the availability table. And then we need to filter. We get all the records and we are going to filter them by date and availability and by suitable tables. So let's open this. And, okay, you see, restaurant management, table availability, and this is an, Airtable formula. I didn't know anything about Airtable formula. So again, Claude helped me. And, here, that's why, in the previous node, I asked you to write the table filter in a way that is suitable in the Airtable formula. So, here we have this, so the status has to be available. The date, we take it from a previous node, so we drag and drop it from the parse date node, okay? And here we get the filter, the table filter here, okay? So by the way, this is a run from another day. It's not the one that I just did before, but you get how it works. So if we test this step, we can see that these are all the available time slots that are available on the requested day, on the requested table for 2 people, and that are available. Okay, so here we have 26 items. Okay, let's go back to the canvas. Okay, now we have another code node that will check if the requested time is available, and if it's not available, it will propose alternative times in the same period, dinner or lunch. So this one was quite complex and I have struggled a bit to do it. So we get all the information from the previous slot, the requested time, the available slot, then if it's lunch period. And well, we make a lot of calculation here because we need to get all the slots that cover 2 hours. We filter them by period, if it's lunch or dinner. I don't want to enter in all the details, but it's really a thing of thinking how it works and really prompting Claude or ChatGPT to give you the results. But I assure you, even if I'm a coder, I didn't write any code here. And at the end, okay, we return all this data. One thing important on how the data works in n8n that was quite confusing for me, especially as developer. Normally, if I have a result, I just return it. But n8n wants array of objects, and it has the array automatically, but each time I return a result, I have to wrap it in this curly braces, which means an object, and with this JSON key, and here is my result. But normally I will only return that if I was in JavaScript outside of n8n. I think I will do a video just about the data structures in n8n because it's quite confusing, especially if you're a developer and you don't need all that. But this is how it works. And the important is now if we run it, okay, we can see that here, okay, this was an available one, okay, but it suggests all the other alternative times. So this is a run which was available, but for example, then it will, if it was not available, it would be able to suggest all the other times, and we are going to see that in the next node. Okay, so let's go back to the canvas, and here we have a conditional. So here it's if the available times is equal to true, okay, from here. Then we go here and we have this respond webhook. And okay, I run the previous node. So here, this is what we send back to Vapi. So we need the tool call ID that we find from the webhook node, from the first one. So we drag this here. I don't remember exactly where it is. Okay. JSON body. Where is it? Message tool calls call ID. So this is the one, you know, it begins by call here. Okay. And the result. So Vapi needs this structure to be sent back to be to make it work. So here Vapi receives that, okay, it's available. So he can say to the client, okay, your table is available. So do you want to make a reservation? And then we go to the reservation function from there. Okay, this is the case where the requested time is available. And if it's not, we have the same hook, but here it's not available. So, okay, let me run this before. Okay, of course, it will not run because here it was available. But in this case, it will transmit the alternative times that are here, okay, and he will ask, oh, okay, the table is not available at 7:30 p.m. Oh, but we have 8:30 p.m. or 9 p.m. for example. And then if the client accepts, then we rerun the booking. And if nothing is available and we propose the client another day and say, oh, okay, I want to come next Monday, then we rerun all this process to find if it's available or propose new times, etc. So from there, all this goes back to Vapi. We were in the editor tab, but this is the execution time. So let me show you the run that we did just before. So it is this one. What is this is the run I've done now for the demo. Okay, and we see that is a test run. This was a real run. So we have two. We have this one, and in this one, you can see that it's not a tool call, this end of call report, because it's the end of the call. But just before, we have another hook call here. And here we can see that is going to the alternative times. So when we want to debug that, we can copy this data to the editor. Okay. And so now here we have the data from the call that we have seen together. So let's run it just to see it in action in n8n. So if I test the workflow with the data from just before, okay, bam, that's done. And here, if I click on the response hook, I see that the requested time was not available, but is suggesting these two alternative times that he has proposed me. Here, this is the reserve table workflow, which is triggered by the reserve table tool from Vapi. It's very similar. So here, the webhook. So this is, by the way, the URL that we passed in the tool for the integration, so the production URL. Okay. Here we have a node where we get all the necessary fields, so the guest, the name, the date, the notes, the email, all what we want to insert in our Airtable reservation table. So let's test it. Okay, so this is not the one from today. Again, this is another one I have done. Okay, so back to the canvas. Here's a suitable table. It's the same one that in the other workflows. The parse date works the same. The formatted date too. Parse time, and then we have everything we need to Airtable, but here in Airtable is a create or update operation in the reservation table. So here we map, so I execute the other nodes, we map each column manually. So just by dragging and dropping, we want the date, the time, the table ID, the guest, the name, and the email and the note, and the status here is confirmed. Oh, and I forget to pass the phone. I should have done it, but basically the phone, we can get it from the webhook in the beginning. Okay, so we run this. Okay, and this I think has trigger Airtable to register register the reservation. Okay, and then we send back this with the webhook. Now this is our last workflow, the update tables availability, that runs each time there is a change in the reservation table from Airtable. Okay, and here we have to poll times to do it every minute. So each time something changes in this table, this thing will take it from every minute. And here we need to have the base by ID and the table by ID. Okay, so that was my reservation, one of the tests I did yesterday. And then here in edit fields, we get all the necessary fields that we need to update the availability table. So we need the start time, the table ID, the date, and the reservation ID. Okay, so this is here in Airtable. You see date, table ID, time slot. So the starting time, for example, for us was 20:30 here. Okay. And then, okay, let's run it. Okay, and back to Canvas. Then here again, we need some code, because if we book one time, we need to create 3 additional records that correspond to the 3 next consecutive 30-minute slots to cover the 2-hour reservation, and format the records for the table availability table. So here, okay, we get all this data, we generate the 4 slots, and we format it for insert them in Airtable. Okay, so again, Claude has done all the work, I guarantee. So then we need a loop, because here, okay, let me show you. If I test this, you know, I have 4 records. So these records have these slots. So we have to update these records. So we need to make a loop to run it for each one of these records. So we go back to the canvas, and here we have a loop item, and okay, it is going to loop for the, so it receives our records. Okay. Okay, so here is the first one, and it's going to send that to Airtable with an operation of create or update the table availability. So it's going to update all these values. Okay, I hope it's clear. There is some complex operations here, but again, you can download everything, and everything is commented, so you can deep dive into it to understand how it works.